Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel's very first team recap for VGC. VGC is a 6v6, 4v4 doubles, and when I say 6v6, 4v4, it's just pretty much you bring six Pokemon, but you can only use four. So, and it's a double battle, so it's completely different than any battle you've seen on the channel so far. Now, this is where I'm most comfortable at. I've been playing VGC since Black and White, and I'm talking early Black and White, like the very start. So I've been playing it since then, and I like it far more than singles. I do like lower tier singles, but in the end, VGC will always be my favorite. Like there's just no beating it at this point. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go over the quick terminology stuff. So, like when I say +1 boost, it's a 50% boost. Example from 100 goes to 150 in a +1 boost, and +2 means 100 to 200, and then +3, +4, yada yada yada. You kind of get the idea. I won't go over every move, but I will highlight like the good one, like the most common good ones that a Pokemon might use, and then like a niche move here or there. One thing we have to consider for this is that the budget we had was 110 points, so I had to pick between at least 9 Pokemon, the maximum being 10. The highest cost was are the 20-point Pokemon like Fluttermane, Qianpao. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. The very first pick of the VGC Regulation F plus Mythical Draft is going to be Tornadus Incarnate. So the reason why I picked Tornadus Incarnate is because I was like pretty much almost in the middle of the draft pick, and that was really annoying. So I went ahead and did something a little different. Normally in past VGC drafts, I would pick someone extremely strong and then build around that Pokemon. However, because I was in an awkward spot and me wanting to do something a little new, I decided to pick Tornadus Incarnate because Tornadus Incarnate can just work with anyone going forward. Like I could throw darts at a wall and then slap Tornadus in at the end of that, and then like all the Pokemon that those darts landed on, Tornadus can work with. Like that's how versatile it is with any team comp. It also gets the amazing ability for VGC called Prankster, and it gets Tailwind. That's an amazing combo to have in VGC because in VGC it's all about speed control. If you don't have speed control in your VGC draft, you're not going to have a fun time. You're going to just be outsped, whether it be Trick Room or Tailwind. It just won't be fun. Uh, it's a pure flying type, so it's only weak to Ice, Electric, and Rock. So that's pretty nice. And it's also unlike other unlike other Prankster Tailwind users, Tornadus can hit pretty hard. Like the next best Tailwind user is actually faster than Tornadus. It's the only one faster than him in Tailwind. In Prankster is gonna be Whimsicott, but Whimsicott doesn't really hit nearly as hard as Tornadus can. Like Tornadus has a pretty high special attack and even a high attack stat. In case we need to like go a little niche here, maybe we just use knockoff, but yeah, it's really nice to have. And Bleak Wind Storm also gets 100% accuracy in rain. So as you can see here, the utility moves, it knows all weather moves. So that's actually pretty huge because I could run maybe a Suedo weather team. So like I could run a mini sun team or a mini rain team. We don't have to, but it is an option. The most common items is Covert Cloak. Covert Cloak is pretty much Tornadus' best friend because it prevents Fake Out from flinching. Fake Out's really common. It is a priority. It is a +2 priority move, so it goes before Prankster does. So, thanks to Cobra Cloak, if we get hit by a Fake Out, it won't matter. We'll still have Prankster up. We'll still be able to use Prankster Tailwind, Prankster Taunt, but most importantly, Prankster Tailwind. Focus Sash is nice here too. If they have a really hard hitting Mon and they go for Tornadus first, we can absorb that hit and then maybe have an extra turn to do like whatever. Maybe set up Rain Dance or Sunny Day or Taunt or whatever. And then Mental Herb. Taunt can be annoying against Tornadus. The Mental Herb removes that. Mental Herb also removes Encore if someone tries to lock him in Encore. There is a fast Encore user, Whimsicott, as we just mentioned. It has Prankster Encore, so it could easily like stop Tornadus after using like Tailwind, and Tornadus just sits there being awkward. But Mental Herb gets us that free get out of jail free card. So niche items, Ability Shield is only really for for the Weezings. Weezings has neutralizing gas, which completely disables Prankster. So Ability Shield will shield it from that ability. Sharpbeak is a item that powers up flying type moves by like 20%. Bleakwind Storm is Tornadus' most used move. followed by like Air Slash and maybe Hurricane. So that's nice. I just get that free 20% boost, and then we have Life Orb, probably the least used item we'll be using, but it's there for 30% boost. It costs a little bit of health each use, so you gotta keep that in mind. But yeah, I went ahead and picked Tornadus. I can't wait. It's really having Prankster Tailwind, especially the second fastest Prankster Tailwind user in the game, is super nice to have. So we'll pretty much almost always have speed control, unless we're against like a Talonflame who has kind of a Talonflame has Gale Wings, so it's like it moves first on flying moves if it's full health. So if it's not full health, it won't be moving for Prankster, but it will move before Tornadus because it's faster than Tornadus. So gotta keep that in mind. All right, let's go on to the second pick. The second pick is pretty similar. Can be slapped on almost any team composition, and that pick is Goldingo. Goldingo has one of the most powerful defensive types in the game in Steel Ghost. We are immune to Fake Out. We're also immune to Status. We'll go over that in just a second here. I'm going to go over the stats first. So Goldingo hits really hard at 133 special attack. Its bulk is pretty decent. I combine that with easily the best typing in the game, Steel Ghost. It's just there's so many resistances. It's like 3 immunities and 9 resistances, I think. So it's a lot. We'll see that at the end too. I have all the stuff laid out in the end. Let's talk about its ability, Good as Gold. Good as Gold is incredibly broken. I say it's probably the most broken ability in Generation 9. It prevents status moves of all kind. So you can't taunt it, you can't encore it, you can't hit it to sleep with Spore or Sleep Powder. If it's a status move, it just won't work. It will just bounce off Goldingo. Now, Mold Breaker could bypass this, but the only one Mold Breaker Mon that would want to use utility over power would be Tinkaton. And Tinkaton can only really like do so much because Goldingo can fire Make It Rain at it, which is a really strong steel type move, and just make its life miserable. Speaking of moves, Make It Rain, as we just mentioned, is a very powerful move, especially in VGC. It hits both Pokemon for 120 damage, and its only drawback is that it lowers the special attack by 1. So that's actually really good because just by 1 is super. It's still usable. Like even a second one will still do a lot of damage. But we can also mitigate that with Nasty Plot. So Nasty Plot increases our special attack by 2. So when we use Make It Rain, it goes from +2 to +1, and then we use it again, it goes from +1 to back to regular. So that's actually super nice. We also got Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave is good here, just to power up Hex. Hex is 65 base damage at the start, but if someone is status, say burned, frozen, or paralyzed, Hex will deal double damage. It's a little bit of a risky thing to do because you generally just want to start doing damage right away, but under certain circumstances it might come in handy. The coverage moves, it doesn't get much, but it gets all that it needs. Thunderbolt is a well-rounded coverage move to have. Power Gem hits fire types, which actually do super effective damage to him. And Dazzling Gleam hits dark types, which also do super effective damage to him. So this is all we really need for coverage. Common items, I won't go over every single one of them, but Life Orb is pretty nice on him, just for the consistent 30% damage. Choice Specs is also really nice. Citrus Berry if we're going for setup, so we can take a hit, restore our health after using Nasty Plot, and then just go crazy from there. Niche items, Leftovers is like the only, I think Goldingo's like the only one aside from Hisui and Gudra that can like utilize Leftovers in VGC. VGC matches don't last that long compared to singles, so Leftovers is generally not recommended, but because of like his respectable bulk and his typing, Leftovers can be workable on him. But it's still a niche thing, but it is something that we could utilize. Alright, let's go on to our third pick. So, with this being Regulation F plus Mythicals, I told myself, we gotta grab a Mythical. I don't care how good it is or bad it is, I gotta grab one. Because that's like the whole point that I'm here. I'm here to use Mythicals. Even just one will do. So I decided to pick what I think is probably the best Mythical for VGC ever, next to Deontay. And that is Hoopa Unbound. Oh my god, this thing hits like a semi-truck. Look at that, look at those stats. An insanely high attack stat and an insanely high special attack at 170. I don't think there's any other special attack user that has this high of an attack stat naturally. It's actually insane. Some of the Paradox spawns can probably reach this with booster energy, but yeah, like we have that right away, so it's super nice. We don't need an item for it. Its ability is Magician. Magician is an ability where if Hoopa is not holding anything and it uses an attack on a Pokemon, it'll steal their item. So that can come in handy if we use like a Citrus Berry strat. We consume Citrus Berry and then we hit a Pokemon and then we steal whatever item they have. Like if they have a Life Orb, now we're just even more stronger. If they have a Citrus Berry, we have another Citrus Berry ready to go. Now it's one downside. It's slow, and this is why it's not like super powerful in singles, because it's legal in singles ladders like OU. It's there in UU. But with its slow speed and it being Psychic Dark and U-turn being everywhere in that format, it tends to be, that's pretty much how it maintains its balance. However, in VGC, bug types, I mean, it's there, but it's not nearly used as much. And speed can be fixed with Prankster Tailwind. So that's super, super nice to have. We have that patched up. And then we have Terra. I forgot to mention it, but Terra is legal, which means we can change our typing to anything we want, depending on what's going on, only one time in a match. Let's talk about its signature moves, Hyperspace Hole and Fury. Hyperspace Hole is a special psychic move that bypasses Protect. So in VGC, Protect is everywhere. Everyone should be running it. Well, not everyone needs to run it, but a large portion of the team needs to run it. It's super nice to have. It can waste someone's time. Like say you have a low health mon, and then you use Protect, and then they try to double it, they like double in on or whatever. They just wasted a whole turn while you're getting set up, while your partner mon's getting set up. So hyperspace moves, both of them here will bypass that, and not only bypass it, but it'll shatter it. So Pokemon slower than Hoopa can like move in and just start bonking whatever he targeted. So that's super, super powerful. Hyperspace Fury does the same thing, but it's different. It's a dark type that's physical, and it's 100 base power. It's 100 base power, and it reduces the defense by 1 every time you use it. That's not a big deal. The Hoopa's defense is pretty naturally low, anyways. It going lower pretty much won't matter in the grand scheme of things, so that's fine. We get some incredibly powerful dark moves. Like knock off his grid on him, foul play, throat chop for any sound users. Like Primarina might want to, like you throat chop Primarina and it already lost. Like Hyper Voice. Coverage moves are nice. Gunk shots for fairies. Drain Punch is super good for other dark types. And then it gets all the elemental punches. And now the cool thing about Hoopa, we'll go back to its stats here. We can easily run a mix set almost every game, and it will still be super, super nice. Like we can like go into negative defensive nature, because again, this does not matter. So we can go like negative defense and go like Hyperspace Fury, Drain Punch, Psychic, Protect. That's just like one example. We can even go like Hyperspace Hole, Dark Pulse, Drain Punch, Protect. It's super, super cool. It's pretty rare for a Pokemon to be able to do that, but Hoopa can definitely make it happen pretty easily. It's because of how high its attack stats are. Utility, Nasty Plot. If this thing gets a Nasty Plot off, it's pretty much game over. There's no way you're going to be able to... He's going to be like one-tapping everything he looks at with just Dark Pulse and like Hyperspace Hole. Like there's just nothing that you can do against that. Trick Room's pretty nice in case we are going up against a team that has a faster Tailwind team than we do. Even if we get it set up first, it could be annoying. We could go Trick Room, and then we can counter Tailwind that way. Gravity is pretty niche. Honestly, I don't expect to use it much. It pretty much makes it where all flying types and levitating Pokemon are grounded on the field for like a few turns, and moves get better accuracy. But honestly, with this high of an attack stat, we're not here for utility reasons. We're here for just like Unga Boonga, clicking Drain Punch and all that fun stuff. Hyperspace Fury, Hyperspace Hole, Dark Pulse. Like we want to be really offensive with Hoopa. We don't really want to be utility, but there might be a time where we want to. We'll see what happens from here. Destiny Bond, pretty much if we are going down, we take you down with us. Can be used as a last resort kind of clutch moment. But yeah, I can't wait to use Hoopa. I've always liked Hoopa's design, but in singles it's just so slow. It's just, well, it's slow for singles, and U-turn is everywhere, so if you just U-turn into it, it just explodes violently. Alright, so at this point we have a nice core. Tornadus works really well with both Hoopa and Goldingo. Hoopa also covers Goldingo. Goldingo's Ghost issue. Ghost is super effective against Goldingo. Goldingo also covers Hoopa's issue against Fairies, so that's pretty nice. They all just work well together, and I'm so excited to be using this core. At this point, though, I told myself, okay, we need another speed control user. I was thinking maybe we would get a second Tailwind user. I was thinking Noivern, because Noivern next to Goldingo can work out. but I ended up opting for Trick Room. And also, the thing about Goldingo and Hoopa is that they neither of them want to take sucker punches. They will explode. Even Hoopa, it deals neutral damage to Hoopa, but it's still neutral damage, and he has such low defenses that it would probably easily take him down. So that's something to consider. Maybe for Giraffe or Serena would be great. And now at this point, Hoopa is physical, but there might be times where we want to prefer our special attack more than physical. So I need a more physically focused mod with priority. I was thinking Baxcalibur, Mammal Swine, and Scizor. Baxcalibur is the highest priority for me at this point because it has a higher attack stat than both of them, and it has really nice moves and like Glaive Rush, which slams Pokemon super hard, and it just deals a ton of damage. And then the other thing I wanted to focus on was getting another quick Pokemon that didn't need to completely rely on Tailwind all the time. Someone that's above 110 speed. So that's what I had to consider. But let's go ahead and proceed on to the fourth pick for Farigiraf. As I just mentioned, Farigiraf works really well here. It helps Goldingo and Hoopa out greatly, and even Tornadus, because it blocks Armor Tail blocks priority, so that includes Fake Out. So that's super great. Just works well with everyone on this team, honestly, going forward. It has a really nice bulky HP stat. Respectable 90 damage. We're not going to be focusing on that, but I'll explain in a minute why that's actually not too bad in certain matchups. And a really nice special attack. Now, Farigiraf can also work into in Tailwind. So if we use like Tailwind to Tornadus with it, it can spam off Hyper Voices and get like a boost with Throat Spray. So that's super nice to have. Cut Chew is not too bad either. If they have like no priority threats or anything like that, we could opt for Cut Chew. Cut Chew allows it to use the berry it used in its previous turn, the next turn. So like if we use Citrus Berry, it'll re-proc again the next turn. That's super great if we're going for like a Nasty Plot or Calm Mindset, or even like a utility set with the Ally Switch. Ally Switch is also super good here because it helps protect Goldingo from ghost types, because it's a normal type and normal types are immune to ghosts. So being able to Ally Switch like a Shadow Ball that's aimed at Goldingo will be super great, because then they waste their time and then Goldingo can fire off its own Shadow Ball or get set up or whatever. Now Ally Switch works similar to Protect, where the more you use it, the higher the chance of it failing. So if you use it once, I think it's like down to 50% success rate. Last generation, it did not have that. You could spam Ally Switch to your heart's content and just drive people crazy. I did that at one point. It was so stupid, but yeah, they definitely nerfed it for this generation. Imprison's super great here too. We can go Imprison Trick Room and stop an opposing opponent's Trick Room. So that's super good to have, because Trick Room is the enemy of Tailwind. Like if you set up if I set up Tailwind and they set up Trick Room, I lost that fight. I lost that speed tie. I better hope I can finish it out quickly, or it's not going to be fun in the long term. But having Imprison Trick Room is super great to have to prevent that from happening. War is great for phasing. If they have like a setup mob, we just war them out. It's like bye-bye. Trick is pretty niche, but it's possible. Maybe we can like throw us choice specs on a physical mon like Annihilate. And then it got Helping Hand. Helping Hand boosts a partner Pokemon, I think 50%. So that's super nice to have. Common items, Throat Spray, as we mentioned, Hyper Voice and Psychic Noise Procket. Mental Herb, in case we're going for more of a utility defensive set, we want to have that extra defense there, because it removes the taunt and encore. So if we're going for like Imprison Trick Room and they have a faster taunt user, we can just proc that. If they try to taunt him and it works, we can get the proc on Mental Herb. But yeah, so that's my fourth pick. Let's go on to our fifth pick now. Baxcalibur. I ended up opting for Baxcalibur. I almost went Garchomp, honestly, because I thought a little more speed was nice at this point, but I went... We already have Prankster Tailwind. I think we should get rid of Baxcalibur, because Baxcalibur hits like a semi-truck. It has 145 base attack stat, really good HP stat, respectable defense, okay special defense. It's not too bad. Its speed was always his biggest issue, but we have speed control in Prankster Tailwind, so that is super great for him. Like we get rid of one of his really only weaknesses. Another thing I really like is Thermal Exchange. Thermal Exchange is a unique ability on Baxcalibur where you cannot be burned, which is amazing, because if he was able to get burned, this would suck, because we would lose like half of this. It would cripple him. And if he gets hit by a fire type, it hits him, but it powers him up by +1. So that's super good to have. We can like beat fire types out and give them a boost and use Tailwind and just go crazy from there. Let's talk about its one of its signature moves, Glaive Rush. I mentioned this earlier, but I'll go in more detail. Glaive Rush is a massively hard-hitting Dragon type move that only Excalibur can use at 120 damage. Now the downside is that it takes extra damage for like a turn, but that can be mitigated by just using Protect. So, and honestly, it might just be worth it just to constantly just keep throwing out Glaive Rushes because Glaive Rush just hits that hard. Dragon Claw is just a standard dragon attacking type attack. Scale Shot is a multi-hit dragon move where if it hits and makes contact, Excalibur will get a +1 speed, and it's also a multi-hit move, so that can be used to like break sashes. Breaking Swipe is more of a utility move. It hits both Pokemon and reduces their attack, but it's kind of weak. It's at 60 base power, so we probably won't use it much, but it's there in case we're up against a very heavy physical attacking team. It could come in handy. Icicle Crash is it's a strong ice move that has like a 30% chance to flinch, or is it 20 or 30? I think it's 20, but it has low accuracy at like 90, so it's a little risky, just a little. Icicle Spear, however, is similar to Scale Shot in that it has 100% accuracy and it can hit 2 to 5 times. And then we have Ice Shard. Stab priority ice move is super nice to have, especially with this attack stat. We can do some decent damage. Honestly, it's 40 base damage, but like with that stab and this attack stat, we can catch people off guard with it. It's got some nice coverage moves: high horsepower, Iron Head for fairies, Earthquake, and Crunch. Its utility, this is all it really has. It probably has something else too, but it wasn't that big compared to Swords Dance and Dragon Dance. Swords Dance increases this attack by 2, so that's super great to have, especially if we're under Tailwind. And also, get ready for me to say, especially under Tailwind a lot this video. But yeah, Dragon Dance is also cool. It praises the attack and speed stat by +1 each. Its items, Loaded Dice is super nice on him because Scale Shot and Icicle Spear are kind of its most used moves. Like you can go like Swords Dance, Icicle Spear, and just do a lot of damage. You do like Loaded Dice will increase the hit count guaranteed from 2 to 5 to 4 to 5, so that is incredibly powerful to have. Clear Amulet to prevent Intimidate drops, or even speed drops. It just prevents stat drops, so it's really good against Intimidate users. Life Orb, if we are looking to just start throwing hands immediately, we don't want to set up, we just want to start going crazy with Glaive Rush or Icicle Crash. And of course, yeah, Citrus Berry. If we're going for a setup, we can go Citrus Berry, and then we can go like Icicle Crash, high horsepower, Glaive Rush, stuff like that. Choice Band is also, it's a niche thing, but it can definitely work out. You can just click Glaive Rush over and over again and have like a 50% boost in its attack stat. Yeah, it's super nice to have. All right, let's move on to our 6th pick. Iron Valiant. So at this point, I want to talk about the points here. Iron Valiant, I feel like, was a little underpriced. It should be at least 15 points, similar to Excalibur. So when I saw that, I was like, I gotta take it. He's really fast. He has great, respectable attack stat, special attack stat. He's kind of like Koopa, except faster at the cost of some power. And fairies, it's also like the second best fairy type. I guess it's like tied between Primarina and Iron Valiant, but I think Primarina is really strong. But those are like the only 3 like really good fairies. But the thing is that Iron Valiant's faster, so that's super nice to have. The other fairies are pretty slow. Like Fluttermane's one of the fastest fairies in the game, and it hits really hard. And then you have Iron Valiant, who's like the second fastest and hits pretty hard. And then you have Primarina and Sylveon, who are like extremely slow. So they can be taken advantage on. But they do a lot of damage, but they can also just be kind of like lapped around too. So picking up Iron Valiant for 12 points was a really nice steal, in my opinion. Ability Quirk Drive. Quirk Drive it works on electric terrain. It boosts the highest stat that it has. So it'll either boost this, or this, depending on what I'm doing. So if I choose to go the physical route, I make Iron Valiant Adamant and then put all the EVs into attack. It'll raise its attack, or this, if I go like special or speed. Now it raises the speed by 50%, and it raises a special attack or attack by 30%. So that's all pretty nice. We can also proc it with Booster Energy. Booster Energy is a one-time consumable use that will proc Quick Drive or Photosynthesis. We won't have a Photosynthesis mod on this team, but it does the same for both. Its typing is pretty nice. The Goldingo is weak to Dark types, so Iron Valiant just quad doesn't care about them. It threatens them out completely with both of its stabs. Its coverage is crazy. It has so much coverage to it. It's actually like I was filling out all this, and I'm like, it's crazy how much this has. Let's see which one I can go over. Shadow Snake's a nice priority move. Knockoff is always great. Leaf Blade is pretty cool. It has a sword. It has to get Leaf Blade. Liquidation is the most random one though. I don't know why it knows Liquidation. It's a water type move, but hey, I ain't complaining. And it also has a lot of great utility. We can go Swords Dance for physical, Calm Mind for special. We can Encore. We have fast Encore, so we can lock down a supporting Pokemon or like make someone spam Protect over and over again. Icy Wind to reduce speed. Fast Taunt. Wide Guard is super nice. Coaching is great. We can use coaching on like Excalibur or Hoopa. It raises their attack and defense by 1. It's like a bulk up to them. Destiny Bond, if we're like going Focus Sash and we know we're gonna go down, we have fast Destiny Bond. And then last but not least, we have Feint. So Feint will, it's like the Hyperspace moves. It breaks Protect, so we can like have other Pokemon move in and do damage. So yeah, it can go either offensive or support. It's super nice to have. Again, pretty underpriced. It should have been 15, but thankfully it wasn't, so I was able to grab it. Common items, Booster Energy, as we mentioned, is probably the most used one. Life Orb's good, and Focus Sash is great, especially if you're going support. Niche items, Choice Specs is, I mean, these aren't bad, honestly. I kind of even debated even putting them under niche, but whatever. I don't expect to use them as much as Booster Energy, so that's why. But, you know, Choice Specs, Dazzling Gleam, Boom Blast, Aurora Sphere, and a coverage move, or Choice Spam because Spirit Break. Oh, let me talk about Spirit Break. Spirit Break is a pretty cool physical fairy move that only 2 Pokemon can use, Grimmsnarl and Iron Valiant. It reduces, it deals 75 physical damage and reduces the special attack by 1. So that is pretty cool. But yeah, that's Iron Valiant. Let's go ahead and move on to our 7th pick now. And that 7th pick is going to be Blastoise. Blastoise has a lot going for it. First of all, it has a lot of great water moves it can use from, like Water Spout, which is a spread 150 base damage if at max health move. The lower your health, lower damage it does though, so we got to keep that in mind. Wave Crash is a very strong physical water move. Muddy Water is a spread move that can reduce the accuracy by, I think it's 10%. But the problem is that it's also like 85% accurate, so it's a kind of a risky move to use, but if it works out really well. Then we got a bunch of other moves here. Aqua Jet's pretty nice for priority. Coverage moves, it gets a lot of coverage moves. Weather Ball, depending on the weather, it'll do 100 damage based on the weather. So Sandstorm's like rock, Sunny Day's fire, Rain Dance is water, Snowscape is ice. Ice Beam, Ice Spinner can get rid of those terrains. A Flash Cannon is really good. Dragon Pulse, Dark Pulse, Crunch. It gets a lot of pulse moves because back like a couple generations ago, it had a Mega called Mega Blastoise with an ability called Mega Launcher, which increased Sphere and Pulse moves by like double, I think, or 50%. It's been a hot minute since we last used it. It also gets a lot of great utility moves. Fake Out was one of the biggest reasons why I picked Blastoise, because Fake Out is always nice to have in VGC, and Blastoise itself is just really nice to support. Icy Wind, a spread ice move that can slow the opponent down by 1. Shell Smash, in case we want to go full offensive, just balls to the wall. Like, I'm going to just click Shell Smash and then spam Water Spout until you cry. Yawn is a really good sleep move. It pretty much makes the enemy Pokemon drowsy. So what will happen is if you use Yawn, they have 1 turn before they fall asleep. So they're kind of put on a countdown. Life Dew is amazing. It gives 25% health to both itself and its partner Pokemon. So that's super great when it comes to clutch situations that we might need it. Sadly, it does not work for Goldingo, but it works for everyone else because Goldingo is good as Gold ability. It blocks support moves even on its own side. Iron Defense is really nice. It already has a high defense stat, so we use Iron Defense. We can go for like Iron Defense Body Press and just be really annoying against physical teams. Haze to get rid of all the boosts going on. If the opponent has a lot of boosting, I can use Haze to get rid of it, and then War to pretty much phase out Pokemon. Items, Assault Vest is great because if you're going for like offensive bulky. You can do like fake out, muddy water, coverage move, and another coverage move like icy wind maybe for support. Expert ball's great here because of how much coverage Blastoise gets. It's more of a niche item though. Mystic Water is decent because it has so many water moves it can choose from. And then leftovers. Leftovers with Rain Dish can be actually pretty clutch. It can heal Blastoise pretty decently because of how bulky it is. And because we have a Tornadus and those Rain Dance, we could easily take advantage of that at times. Alright, let's go on to our 8th pick, which is Furret. So, Furret, if you're new to VGC, you might be looking at this and going, what? Why would we want Furret? Well, there's actually two big reasons why. Furret gets access to two of the most powerful VGC mechanics in the game here. It has a very powerful ability called Frisk, which shows the opponent's items. It shows not one, but both of the opponent's items. That's actually really big for draft, because then we can look into it and we can see 2 out of 6 Pokemon right away. And the next game, because remember it's best of 3, so next game we get even more information and we can see like almost their entire, pretty much most of their team with Frisk. Utility, the second biggest reason why we picked Furret is Follow Me. So with the right investment, we can keep Furret here and just spam Follow Me, allowing your partner Pokemon to set up. Now, the reason why Follow Me is so brokenly powerful is because there's no real counter to it. There are some abilities in the game that counter it, but only like 3 Pokemon get that. And yeah, there's no item to counter it. There's no some moves can bypass it, but that's even rarer. It's just really powerful. I hope they nerf it next gen. They're probably going to make it where if you use Follow Me once, it has a chance to fail the second time, kind of like how Protect does it already. So hopefully they do that because, like I said, Follow Me is just ridiculously busted. Super Fang is also another great move here. Now, Furret has lackluster offensive stats, like completely. It's not good. But Super Fang doesn't care because Super Fang will deal 50% of the current health. So if they have 100% health, they go down to 50% health. If they have 50% health, they go down to 25% health, and so on and so forth. So that's super great to have. Helping Hand is always nice. Increases your partner's damage by 50%. The problem is that, again, this doesn't work on Goldingo, but it works on Hoopa and Baxcalibur and even Blastoise, so we will go with it. Knockoff is pretty nice. You can remove the opponent's item, deals 2 times damage, so yeah, it's something. Charm to reduce the opponent's attack by 2, and then we have Trick, which is really niche, but it might come in handy one of these games. We'll see what happens. Items, Focus Sash and Mental Herb. Focus Sash now, for his, we could defensively work it out with proper investment. Its health stat isn't too shabby for something defensive-wise, but its special defense is garbage, so Focus Sash could come in clutch here where it gets hit really hard once, and then the second Pokemon will hit it again, and then effectively knocking Furret out but protecting their partner Pokemon, so that's super nice. And then Mental Herb, because of how support-heavy Furret is, we definitely want to be careful with taunts. So Mental Herb is there to just protect us from taunts. If we use a Follow Me move and then they use Encore, then I'm sorry, let's be more realistic. If we use Charm and then they use Encore, then it's stuck using Charm until I swap out. But Mental Herb will get rid of the Encore status, so that's nice. And Taunt too. Taunt will also completely shut down Furret, but Mental Herb gets rid of that for 1 extra turn. Alright, let's move on to our 9th pick. We're at 3 points left, so I really had to kind of dig around and be careful here. But my 9th pick is another rodent. In fact, it is the mascot of Pokemon itself, the one and only Pikachu. And he's wearing the Sinnoh hat because we're the Snowpoint Capybara, so he's got to represent. So, Pikachu, you might be looking at these stats if you're new and going, oh my god, why? This is worse than Furret. But honestly, it can come in handy for a low point mon. It can have its uses. So first of all, its health stat is nothing. This thing will absolutely explode to any neutral hit in the game. I'm pretty sure even resistant hits it will not like. But there's something special that Pikachu gets that no other Pokemon gets in the game, and that's called Light Ball. Light Ball will increase its attack and special attack by double. It'll double these numbers. Combine that with a very powerful signature move in Volt Tackle with 120 base power, that could actually do some decent damage. And it has an okay speed stat. Like 90's pretty it's not too bad for a draft format. So, but yeah, the Volt Tackle can do a lot of damage. We have Thunder if we want to do like a Rain Dance Thunder team. It's slightly weak, just a little bit weaker, but we can make it work. And then we have Volt Switch and Discharge. It's like 30% chance to stun our opponent, to paralyze our opponents. Unfortunately, it hits our side too, so we gotta be really careful. Its ability, static is whatever. If it gets hit once with a physical move, it's probably just gonna die immediately. But we do have that 30% chance to paralyze it right back. So, but Lightning Rod's actually pretty nice here because Blastoise and Tornadus do not like electric type attacks. So being able to absorb an electric attack and increase the special attack by 1, if we're holding Light Ball, we can actually do some solid damage. It's very glass cannon-y. But not just that, it gets some decent coverage. It gets some decent. It gets great coverage moves. Surf is great for hitting ground types that it can't hit otherwise. Fairy types hit dragon types. Knockoff is always nice. Fly, I don't know why I put fly. Fly, it's whatever. I mean, it can hit grass types that resist electric types, but it's whatever. Brick Break is great to hit screens. Trailblaze just increases speed by 1. Meh. I'd rather use grass at that point. Utility, Fake Out's always great. Upper Hand is like reverse Fake Out. So if they use a priority move and you use Upper Hand, Pikachu will move first and deal damage and stop their priority move. They'll pretty much flinch whoever's like trying to use a priority move. So that's pretty good. Electro Web is a spread electric move that will reduce the speed by 1. It's kind of like, it's pretty much Electric Icy Wind. It doesn't have a chance to miss. It's like 95% accurate. But if it hits, it hits. It's pretty nice. Eerie Impulse reduces the special attack by 2, so a solid supporting move. Fake Tears reduces special defense by 2. That's really great for Hoopa and Goldingo and even Tornadus. Encore is always amazing. Locking someone into an Encore is miserable if you don't have Mental Herb, especially since we can just repeat it over and over again. And Feint. So Feint is like, it's pretty similar to the Hyperspace moves I mentioned a while back. Basically, if you use it, it'll smash through Protect and break it for your opponent to go through. So that can come in niche clutches. The items, we already talked about Light Ball. It doubles attack and special attack. Focus Sash is more for the supportive Pikachu role. If I were to go like, so like, I would go maybe Volt Switch, Fake Out, Electro Web, Eerie Impulse, Fake It, like one of like pretty much those kind of movesets. Light Ball is more for the offensive thing, like Volt Tackle, Volt Switch, coverage move, Protect, or even one support move. But yeah, I picked Pikachu because of all that. I thought it was a pretty okay pick at 2 points. We were really scraping the barrel. Again, it's not the greatest thing ever, but for what it can do, I think it's pretty solid. And of course, if it doesn't work out, I already know what to switch it with anyways. It's not a big deal, so we'll see how it goes. If Pikachu can't work out, we'll swap him out with a stronger pick. No problem. Alright, we have 1 point left. We are at the bottom of the barrel, the garbage. And originally, I wasn't even going to pick here. I was going to stop here, because we can pick up to 9 and stop there if we want. But I was like, let me see what I can find in the 1 point tier list, which is like where all the garbage Pokemon are. And I actually found a little bit of a hidden gem, and I couldn't believe it, because I think this Pokemon should at least be 3 points. Maybe 4? I think 3 is fine. And that Pokemon is Lycanroc Midnight. So, the reason why I picked Lycanroc Midnight is because it has a very powerful... It's a double-edged sword kind of ability called No Guard. It pretty much hits moves for 100% all the time, except moves can hit it back for 100%. So that can be annoying. But the thing is, in VGC, Rock Slide is such a powerful move because it has a 30% chance to flinch, and it's a spread move. Combine that with Stab and like a Life Orb or Choice Band with an okay attack stat, I think that could do some damage. And plus, we have Prankster Tailwind. Don't forget. So we can. Yeah, don't forget, I've been mentioning it in the whole video. But yeah, again, we can double the speed and just start launching like rock slides. You know, even if we can flinch one Pokemon, that could be game changing, honestly. Like, I've lost games just because of rock slide flinches. It's annoying. Stone Edge is also really powerful. Like a Choice Band Stone Edge with Speed Prio, we could get a solid like KO with it, or even like or just like a bunch of damage. Like regardless, if they don't resist it, it's gonna do a lot of damage with Life Band, Choice Band. Its coverage moves aren't too shabby either. We got Close Combat, always nice to have. Psychic Fangs to break screens. And its utility, Swords Dance, probably niche, probably gonna not be used much because again, it's No Guard makes it where everything can hit this thing too as well. So we got to be really careful how we position. But if we are in if we are able to get Swords Dance off, that could be pretty nice, honestly. Swords Dance, Life Orb, Rock Slide. Yeah, that's gonna sting with Stab. Snarl is good. Snarl is a special dark move that reduces the special attack by 1. So that can come in handy at times. Yeah, it has a really weak special attack, but again, this is like you use Snarl for the utility, not for the damage, unless you're Yveltal, where Yveltal can just boost it pretty hard. Endure's pretty good if you want to go for like shenanigans with it. Like if you can use Endure, it's like a focus sash. You use Endure, you go down to 1, and then you use Protect, and then you use Endure again. I'm pretty sure Endure will work even if it's at 1 health. But yeah, it's really niche. I know one of the other Lycan Rock forms does it. I think it's the day one that does it, not Dusk, the day one. And then Helping Hand. Well, always nice to have Helping Hand. But yeah, that's my final pick. Lycan Rock Midnight is now part of the team. Let's go ahead and move on to the final slide here. Before I continue, thank you, Muskrat Jerome. You helped me out with some of the picks here. When I got to Baxcalibur's pick, I was kind of thinking another utility mon might work, like a fast utility Pokemon. But he recommended, nah, just go full damage. I'm like, okay, I'll just go full damage. So I went Baxcalibur, Iron Valiant, so that should work out well. I feel like we have a solid team here. I hope I don't choke out with this team and get some decent wins here. We'll see what happens going forward. But yeah, if you made it all the way here, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. If you want, go ahead and leave a comment. If you like the video, if you think there could be improvements to it. I recorded this 2 separate times. You might have noticed it was before the 7th pick when I got the Blastoise. I stopped at Iron Valiant because I was on my lunch break working and lunch was ending, so I had to go back and I had to finish up the recording and go back. So you might have noticed a little bit of a weird quality dip there for a second. But yeah, anyways, I'm really happy with this team. I'm going to try my hardest to get the MUs out, the matches going, but I'm going to be a little busy this month. Like, there's some real life stuff I got to handle, some pretty big ones. And I got to do, I'm also like playing other games too. Like Foxhole is imminent for a pretty big update really soon. So I'm looking forward to that, and there's other games also getting major updates and releasing. So I will try my best to get these matches out. We might skip a week, we might skip a couple weeks, we might not even get any out at all, but I will try my hardest to at least get a few going. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. The next team building video might be next month or in 2 months. I'm going to try to stick to just one draft. Because one draft, I've tried 3 drafts before, and I hated it. I was burnt out on all of them. But anyways, you guys have a nice one. Bye-bye.